Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to transform this area using metal raised beds. This was a mounded bed that came straight out here, a basic earth bed, and it worked really well, but I just wasn't maximizing the space. And I want this area to be a place where I trellis fruits, beans, and other vegetables that are going to climb. I'll be using the ladder. I'll be talking about the deck railing there that I made out of hinges, and really just setting up this whole space. So I'm going to be using metal raised beds from Vegega, V-E-G-E-G-A. Check out my video description. You can use my code and get a potential discount, and I am affiliated with them. I like the metal raised beds. They're very lightweight, easy to assemble, and you can even take them with you, the smaller ones, if you have to move down the line. So they're just wonderful to use for building raised beds. These are going to have 17-inch sides. So first thing I'm going to do is just clean out the center area here, pull out the spinach that bolted. We had crazy hot weather. And then I'm going to use a weed eater just to shape this space out. Then we'll get to the raised beds. I'll show you. This is what the space is going to be at the end of the video. Notice as I'm going through the video, I'm kind of thinking about the space. I'm talking about ideas, things change. And when you're developing a space in your garden, have an idea, have a vision, but let the space tell you really what it wants to become. And I really like how this turned out at the end. And just setting up this whole space. They're going to be, the raised beds I think are about 3 feet long, 2.5 feet wide. They're going to fit nicely coming right down here. This is where we are, about 10 minutes. Quickly pulled the weeds by hand, stuck them into a wheelbarrow. If you have room for compost, I highly recommend starting a pile. It's going to save you a lot of money down the line, and it's just wonderful for your soil and for your plants. So at this point in construction, you're not worried about getting everything removed perfectly, because we're going to drop in the beds. I may even be able to get maybe 6 or 7 if I bring them down further this way, but it's really going to maximize the space. So quick hand weeding, wanted to show you the space. There's the mound right down there, and it worked well. I just believe I can get more into the space by using the metal raised beds. Now, I'm going to hit this with a weed eater, cut everything back, and then we'll get to really shaping the area by building the beds, setting them in place. At the end, we'll put down mulch, we'll weed a little bit better, and this will look really, really sharp. The space is now open. You can see exactly what we're working with. This is sort of your canvas. I really consider us artists when we're out in the garden and we're designing and we're growing. Don't be afraid to use a weed eater. I just obliterated what was left, pulled out the easy weeds. The whole process, 20 minutes maybe. Great start. Then you start feeling kind of good. You're like, okay, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm starting to get an idea of what this space is going to look like. We're going to use this deck railing, which I made. I'll be doing a video on this. I've already done a video on this actually, on how to build this. I will put it in the video description. But I'm going to also do a video just showing you the uses. So this will open up as wide as you want. So one of the metal beds is going to go right in there, and I'll be growing melons and cantaloupe up the side. When you're setting up your design, you want to make sure you have at least 2 feet between different beds. And I use wood beds and metal beds and all kinds of different things so that I can get in here, harvest what I have to harvest over there on the apple trees, you know, take care of whatever's growing on this trellis. The metal raised bed will go right in here. Then I'll have enough space for the next bed. Maybe use this ladder and I'll work my way down, and we'll see. I mean, I think I can only get 5 in here, and actually only 3 of the metal beds have been shipped to me. The other ones are going to come in June, so I'll finish that up later, obviously. But you'll get a sense of when I drop them in. And then finally, for filling the metal beds, for putting them together, I have videos on that. I will put them in the video description. The short version is, with a 17-inch sided raised bed, 2/3, the lower 2/3 is lesser quality material, and then the top third is your better stuff, and I'll be using Pro Mix for that. Check out those videos if you want to see how to fill them really much more cheaply than buying the expensive bagged potting mixes and stuff like that. But I'm kind of liking the space. This is what kind of motivates me, is when you clear out the weeds, you open it up, get you ready for the next step. So I'm going to drop in a metal raised bed, show you what it looks like. Here's one of the Vegega beds set up. Now these are 17-inch sides, so if you're growing in a place where there's a lot of rabbits, it would take a really brave rabbit to leap into there. They don't want to go where they don't know where they're going to be landing. So you could put this outside where you have rabbits. You can grow just about anything you want in there, especially with the 17-inch depth. Took me maybe 20 minutes to assemble. super lightweight. Like I was saying, you could just pick this up and take it with you. I like the metal raised beds. If you built this out of wood, the price is going to be pretty similar because wood's more expensive nowadays, and it would just be too heavy to really pick up. Now looking at my trellis, this is really cool because I can lift it up and I can expand it so that, you know, the raised bed will fit right under there, and I'm going to grow melons and cantaloupe up there. However, I have these metal structures kind of bumping out, so maybe I will bring that trellis down here where I have more room. But I'm going to set these up so that I have a circular raised bed there, then I'm going to put in a square one or something like that, and just kind of work my way down. Let me get the other beds in and show you what that looks like. The raised bed in the back is actually square, and I really like that. And it works with the A-frame deck trellis that I built. So I think that's going to stay there. And again, there's enough space in the back to walk and tend to whatever's going on there. I can get into here, walk through there obviously, and then we go with the one that's more rounded. That's going to stay open. I'm not going to drop a trellis over this because I don't want to create too much shade. The sun is actually, the southern sun is actually behind me, so sun will pour right into here. So I have another square one that's going to go right here. That will be trellised in some way, and then I will bring out, you know, the 4th and 5th raised beds that will go right into this space as soon as they get delivered. Really like the metal raised beds. They come in all kinds of different colors and shapes, so please check out Vegega. You can find all that information in my video description. But I think the space is going to be perfect. And if you want to subscribe and follow me, I will show you how I plant into these, how I fertilize the top 6 inches to get the bed set up, and just really take care of everything that's growing in here. But this is going to look great. All right, let me finish up. The 3rd bed is in. I like the design. I like these different shapes. Not sure what I was thinking that I could get 6 of these into this space. I'll definitely be able to get a 4th, maybe a 5th, depending whether or not I put a trellis on it. I like it. These 3 are perfect. I like using the ladder here. That will be for a trellis, and then the A-frame that I talked about earlier. The Vegega garden beds are really easy to assemble. They come with a single tool. This is all you need to assemble them, and it makes assembly go really, really quickly. Nice edge that you can put right onto the tops of the bed so that you don't cut yourself. Sometimes the metal raised beds have sharp edges. Highly recommend checking them out. All that information's in the video description. So I'm going to mulch everything out, clean up the space, going to fill the beds. And again, in the video description, you can find a detailed video that shows you how I fill these. But I think this looks really nice. I mean, this is so much more, this is a better use of the space here. I'm going to be able to grow so much more just by using some trellises, but instead of just having a single mound, I've really, you know, maximized the space in here. And I think one more right there, and maybe I'll squeeze in another one there, not sure. So I am done. This took about half of a day. I decided to actually revive the mound piece right here, and I'm going to put in 2 squash plants, so there'll be a low growing crop right here, but I'm going to keep that. I'll put the other 2 when they arrive somewhere else. I like the grouping of 3. The ladder is not centered, it's off to the left. It'll allow more light and air for some other crop. Again, we left the opening in between the trellises to let in more sunlight, and I really, really like the design. I'll be dropping in Pro Mix in the top portion of these beds when I go to plant. I'll be doing a video on that. But I really like how it turned out. And just a pro tip, I soaked everything down with a hose. It's a great way to show off the space you're working on right at the end. Metal raised beds are going to last you a good 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. They're not going to rust out. They have an industry leading coating on them. It's pretty much standard, but these last for a really, really long time. Thanks for watching, and again, please subscribe. I'll show you how I plant these beds up and take care of them throughout the season. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com, and I'll show you how I take care of this entire garden. Thanks for watching.